previously we have discussed the origination of matter, and there are four: karma, consciousness, temperatures, and nutriment. And we have finished the matter produced by karma. So today we are going to continue the matter produced by consciousness. So we have 89 types of consciousness. Which type of consciousness produce rupa? So there are 75 types of consciousness, excluding 5 immaterial sphere resultant consciousness. So 89 minus 5 immaterial sphere resultant. Because in immaterial sphere resultants, there is no rupa at all. No body, no eyes, no ear, and no rupa at all. Therefore, we exclude 5 immaterial sphere resultant. This one will happen in the Brahma world, not in the human world. And the two sets of 5-fold sense consciousness. What are the 5-fold sense consciousness? Eye consciousness, ear, nose, tongue, body. These are called 5-fold, we call sense consciousness. And this type of consciousness are very weak. Therefore, they cannot produce any matter. So exclude 10 and 5. Excluding 4, sorry, is my mistake. 4 immaterial sphere, not 5, sorry. 4 immaterial sphere resultants, and the two sets of 5-fold sense consciousness of 14. So 89 minus 14, the rest of consciousness, whether they are wholesome, unwholesome, resultant, functional, they can produce consciousness born matter. We call rupa kalapa. Okay. So what are the rupa kalapa? They are born by consciousness. Number 1 is called pure otek. Pure otek. The pure otek kalapa. Otek means 8. So as I said before, rupa must arise in a group called rupa kalapa. The minimums, the basic one is 8 element. We have studied this before. So the 8 element which form rupa kalapa, we call pure otek kalapa. So how? Let's say how, I want to give an example. I think this is very important in our daily life. How the consciousness produce pure otek kalapa. Suppose we get very angry. So the consciousness rooted in anger. One consciousness accompanied by displeasure. Accompanied by displeasure feeling that arises, whether prompted or unprompted. When the anger consciousness, anger mind arise in the body, this mind or consciousness can produce the pure otek kalapa, the 8 element in mind kalapa. So inside the 8 element, there is fire element. I think I better go to the, if you can remember the 8, then I don't have to go back. Okay, so inside that pure otek kalapa, there's fire element, right? And because of the angry mind, and the fire element become very excessive, very hot. So when a person gets angry, immediately he feels the body is very hot. And when that fire element also cause the wind to act very, very fast. So one can feel suddenly the heartbeat very fast. And even the more anger one has, the more fire element and wind element, and for some people even the body shake. This is called the pure Otek Kalapa. The inside pure Otek Kalapa with fire elements and wind element, excessive of fire element and wind element, are produced by mind accompanied by anger. So this is how the consciousness produce pure Otek Kalapa. And this anger mind and also make this pure Otek Kalapa very unhealthy, because out the Kalapa body only will become healthy when the all elements are balanced. But the anger mind cause, fire element and wind element become so excessive, then it will, weaken the health, make the body very weak, even produce a lot of toxic, a lot of toxic that occur in the body. I have one student who from Canada. One day, she came to me and related to me her experiences, and she said that I can quote her example in order to support my teaching, or in order to support the teaching of the Buddha. So she told me the story. Previously she got cancer, and she is very devoted Buddhist. Having the cancer, so she tried to heal her body using all the good mental states, of course, plus the treatment from doctor. But after she recovered from her cancer, she found out that her husband got affair with another woman. So she got so much angry with her husband because of her. She asked her husband came over to Canada and have a better life in Canada instead of in Sri Lanka. So she felt that her husband bear her gratitude, and yet her husband is so ingratitude and having the affair with another woman. So she can't forgive her husband, and she got very, very angry with her husband. And because of that anger, for day after day, week after week, month after month, finally her cancer came back. Because the anger mind produced a lot of unhealthy Otek Kalapa. The Otek Kalapa, all the elements are out of the order, are not in balance. That cause a lot of unhealthy matter in the body, that in the long run, after I think 1 year or 2 years, her cancer came back again. So she find, as a devoted Buddhist, she understand why her cancer came back, simply because of her anger. So finally, being a Buddhist, she forgave her husband. And when I was in Toronto, she came with her husband to come and offer me food, dana. So she related to me all her story. So this is how. And after that, she forgave her husband, and she tried to step out from her house and to help many people, to help other people, to tell them, to have wholesome mind and to relate her story to others, so that advise others not to get very angry when such thing happen, that make the body even worse. So she stepped out from her family and make all and perform a lot of meritorious deed, which is not self-centered, and because of compassion for other people, then gradually and forgiveness, then I think her cancer was healed again. So from her story, you can see how the mind affects our body, how the mind produces this unwholesome Otek Kalapa that spoil our health. So in the opposite, so if we always cultivate metta mind, the mind with loving kindness, the mind with compassion, the mind with gratitude, the mind with forgiveness, then we can see that this the consciousness can produce a lot of healthy, pure otak kalapa that heals the body, that make the body more healthy. So in order to take care of our health, we have to cultivate more positive state of the mind. Now, this is how consciousness, we call consciousness born kalapa. Okay. Then number 2, the consciousness also produce the bodily intimation non-net. Non-net means 9. So the pure otak means 8 rupa plus bodily intimation is bodily gesture to show your intention. So for example, I want to ask somebody to come. So the mind can produce pure otak kalapa plus produce rupa kalapa plus 1. I show the gesture, please come, the hand, please come. So this is called the bodily intimation non-net kalapa produced by the mind. Okay. And number 3, the mind also can produce the verbal intimation non-net plus sound. So, for example, I want to ask Maureen to come over here. I say, Maureen, please come. So I have the intention to speak, to say something. So that intention can produce 8 rupa kalapa plus verbal intimation, which the citta rupa, the matter produced by mind. Inside that there is earth element, and that earth element will strike the earth element in my throat, which is another element on my throat. So the both earth elements strike together, then will produce sound. Okay, so this is called the verbal intimation non-net plus sound. 10. And number 4, the pure otak plus lightness tribe. Lightness tribe means, if you can remember, the 3 let me show you. Okay, this lightness of real materiality, malleability of real materiality, and weightiness of real materiality. These 3 are called lightness tribe. So when my body, let's say my body is very happy, my mind is very happy. So when my mind is very happy, then the mind can produce the pure otak plus this lightness plus weightiness plus malleability. Okay, or the concentrated mind. For example, when I sit in concentration, anapanasati, so my mind is well concentrated. Then this concentrated mind can produce the pure otak plus this 3, lightness, malleability, and the weightiness of the body. So my body feels so light and very wealthy, ready to to do anything. Okay, number 5, the bodily intimation non-net plus lightness tribe. So when my mind after meditation, my mind become very happy, or when I have done something good, dana, or I keep my sila, or after chanting, and so on. So but when my mind is very happy, then the body intimation, whatever gesture I have, I can produce the body intimation plus lightness, malleability, and weightiness. 3. But opposite, if the mind is very sorrowful, so only can produce the bodily intimation, non-net, no lightness tribe. Okay. Number 6, the verbal intimation, non-net plus sound plus lightness tribe. So when my mind is also very happy, so when I speak something, I can speak very lightly, not sorrowful, not heavy. Then there's lightness, weightiness, and malleability. So all these 6 groups are produced by our mind. Today I go a little bit fast because we're short of time. Okay, now I think it's very important to know that how our mind affects our body as well as others. No, just now I say the angry mind affect our body, and the metta mind, the metta also can produce a lot of, when person do metta, she feel very happy, and that the mind associated with loving kindness produce a very strong, healthy matter, rupa kalapa in the body. So this body feel very light, weightiness, lightness, and so on. This is how the mind affect our body. But we may not even know that our mind can affect others too, right? How? We may know, but how it really works. I would like to give an example of Buddha's metta, how the Buddha, our Lord Buddha's loving kindness affect others. So everybody know Devadatta, right? The enemy of Buddha. Even though Buddha never treated him as enemy, but Devadatta, because he has strong desire to take over Buddha's position, and so he tried various ways to kill the Buddha. So one day he made Nalagiri elephant intoxicated, make the elephant intoxicated. And when Buddha with his disciple come for Pindapata, and Devadatta release that elephant, and this elephant, because drunkard, intoxicated, so this elephant rushed towards the Buddha. So when Buddha see the elephant rush towards him, immediately he enter into metta jhana. Immediately he enter into metta jhana, and his metta can produce a lot of powerful pure otek kalapa. And this pure otek kalapa, inside that pure otek kalapa, there is fire element, right? And fire element can produce another generation of kalapa inwardly as well as outwardly. Outwardly means outside the body. So the fire element also can produce many generations of rupa kalapa outside the body. We call temperature born kalapa. Okay, so when this temperature born kalapa travel outside the body, outside the body, and because Buddha's mind is so strong, metta is so strong, so it produces so strong, powerful temperature born kalapa. And when this temperature born kalapa has soothing effect, because it's produced by loving kindness mind, so it has soothing effect. So when this kalapa reach the Nalagiri elephant, immediately soothe him, subdue his cruelty, his wildness. So when this effect heals the Nalagiri elephant, he immediately feel the effect of loving kindness of Buddha. So when he rushed towards the Buddha, in front of the Buddha, he kneel down. Instead of attacking the Buddha, the elephant kneel down in front of the Buddha as if like bowing to the Buddha. So here you can see how the metta mind affect other people. So whenever you go somewhere, when you meet with a wild animal, or even a dog who bark with you very fiercely, so don't be afraid. So if you are afraid, the afraid mind produce a lot of unwholesome matter that make that unwholesome matter. Inside that unwholesome matter, there's fire element. That fire element also can travel far. So that fear element is not protective to you, not protective for you as well. So instead, to protect yourself, you have to radiate metta. When you meet with those wild elephant, including the dog who barks you. So if you can immediately radiate the metta, that inside that metta, the mind accompanied by that metta can produce a lot of rupa kalapa. Inside the rupa kalapa, there's fire element. That fire element can travel outside the body, and since it's come from the mind associated with loving kindness, it has soothing effect. That effect can soothe. Animals are very sensitive towards humans' energy. Animals are very sensitive towards energy, so that metta energy can be felt by the animals. So animals will not attack you. This is how you can protect yourself. This is how our mind can affect other people as well. And also in the history, we can see the Hitlers during the Second World War. The Hitlers has abundance aversion towards Jews, right? So he killed many Jews and caused Holocaust in Jews. So one people's hatred can cause millions people's death. This is how the mind can affect others. Even the mind can affect the whole planet. So to me, I think why COVID-19 happened in this world, to me, that is related with our corrupted mind. Because nowadays people are more and more corrupted. Therefore, more and more disaster has to be faced by human beings, unless we change our mind for the better. Okay, so rupa, so citta ja bon kalapa, the rupa produced by matter produced by my mind is very, very important in our, for us to understand this point. It's very important, so we can take care of our mind, take care of our body, as well as take care others, and take care the world with wholesome mind. Okay, so now one citta, there are three sub-moments of one consciousness. We call it arising, static, and dissolution. So for the mind, the arising sub-moment is most powerful. So citta, mind, will produce rupa only at the moment of arising sub-moment. And the static sub-moment, citta cannot produce any rupa. And the dissolution sub-moment, citta cannot produce any rupa. Okay? But for the rupa, for the materiality, or also got three sub-moments, arising, presence, or dissolution. So for rupa, presence is most strongest. So rupa also can produce new generation. For example, fire can produce new generation of rupa. Nutritive actions also can produce new generation of rupa, right? So, but they produce new generation of rupa at sub-moment of presence, not at the arising stage. Rupa is not strong at the arising stage. Rupa is strong at the present stage. So at the present stage, rupa can produce new generation of rupa. Now we have gone through matter produced by karma, matter produced by consciousness. Now we want to see materiality produced by temperature, or materiality originating from temperature. Temperature means fire element. So when fire element in each kalapa, we must know in each kalapa there's fire element. Please don't forget this point. In each kalapa there are 8 elements. Fire element, the 4 elements are compulsory there, because they are the foundation for each kalapa. Okay. So when fire element in each kalapa reaches the static stage or present stage, the 3 sub-moments, the present, or we call static stage, it starts to produce a new generation of kalapa. Among the 4 elements, earth element, fire, water, and wind, only fire element can produce new generation of kalapa. Earth cannot. Water also cannot. Wind also cannot. Only fire has that power. Okay. So suppose this is pure Otte kalapa. So inside that pure Otte kalapa, we have 8 elements, right? Earth element, water, fire, wind, color, smell, taste, nutritive action. So when the fire element here reach the static stage or present, there are 3 sub-moments of rupa, right? Fire element also called rupa. So when the fire reach the static stage, it start to produce a new generation of kalapa. So new generation of kalapa also got 8 elements, same type, same 8 elements. But this new generation of kalapa, which is produced by fire element, is called temperature born kalapa. We have karma born kalapa. For example, our eye decade kalapa, ear, nose, tongue, body, all these are called karma born. And we have citta. Just now we have mentioned citta, the sound, our bodily intimation, then lightness, and and so on. These are materiality born by consciousness. Now we come to materiality born by temperature. So this temperature born is produced by fire element. Okay. So when a pure Otte kalapa, the fire in a pure Otte kalapa produce new generation of kalapa we call temperature born kalapa. So first generation, and inside the first generation of rupa kalapa, there's also fire. And this fire again can produce new generation of kalapa. We call second generation of rupa kalapa born by temperature. And this second generation of rupa kalapa born by temperature also got fire. And this fire also can, when reach a static stage, also can produce another generation of rupa kalapa, third stage. Okay. So all these are called temperature born kalapa. Okay. And samatha and vipassana. So if a person, just now when I mentioned Buddha's metta can produce a pure Otte kalapa born by consciousness. And that kalapa also got fire element, right? And that fire element can produce kalapa internally as well as externally. So when it reach external, and because Buddha's samatha, metta is samatha meditation, Buddha's samatha concentration is so powerful. Therefore, it will produce very powerful temperature born kalapa. So it can reach very far. Even the elephant, if elephant from very far also he can sense Buddha's kalapa. Buddha's metta. So these are called temperature born kalapa, but originated from the Kalapa born by consciousness, by Buddha's loving kindness. Okay. So there's also another story, when Buddha and Ananda, a group of monks, visited one country, and the king of the country wanted everybody to come and wanted every minister's relative, royal relatives to come and receive Buddha. And one of the prince is very unwilling to go, but if they against king's order, they will be punished. They will be fined with a lump sum of money. So all of them went out and received the Buddha. And the prince was the Ananda's friend. So when Ananda saw his friend also among the group receiving the Buddha, Ananda was very happy and greeted him. I said, "Oh, so nice to see you. I'm surprised that you also came and received the Buddha." And the prince said that I am unwilling to come, but if I do not come, I will be fined. So he answered to Ananda. Ananda felt very offended by his answer. He said, "Oh, this my friend is so ignorant. He didn't know, what a good meritorious deed he had in order to come and receive the Buddha. So how should I help my ignorant friend?" So he approached the Buddha and told Buddha, said that, "Venerable Sir, can you send loving kindness towards my friend, the prince?" Usually Buddha sends loving kindness to all human beings, unless certain circumstances he feels that he need to send metta or loving kindness to particular being. So since Ananda wished the Buddha to send loving kindness to his friend, so Buddha agreed. So then Buddha go back to his kuti and sit and send loving kindness to this prince. And at that time, the prince is far away. He was in the palace. So when this metta produced a lot of rupa kalapa in the body, and inside the rupa kalapa there's fire element. This fire element can regenerate many generations of rupa kalapa, can travel very far. And travel very far when this loving kindness reach the prince start to feel the effect. He cannot sit there anymore. He just want to see Buddha. So he rushed out from the palace and asked, "Where's the Buddha? Where's the Buddha?" And asked everyone, "Where's the Buddha?" So finally he ran and finally reached where the Buddha stayed. And he just want to go and see Buddha. Don't know why, he just want to see Buddha. And when he reached the Buddha's place, Buddha preached him the Dhamma. So this is how the temperature-born kalapa can travel very, very fast, depend on the power of your concentration and wisdom. Okay? Like Anuruddha's divine eyes. Anuruddha's divine eyes can travel up to 10 world cycle. Okay? Okay, so here for your extra knowledge, whether you understand this is not so important, but since I have done the PowerPoint, I just explain to you. Like Kamaja born rupa. Kamaja born means temperature born kalapa. Sorry. The kalapa born by kama. Kamaja rupa means the kalapa born by kama. Inside there's fire, can produce 4 to 5 generations of temperature born kalapa. Okay? And ordinary citta, our mind, ordinary citta, Inside there also got fire element, right? That fire element can produce 2 to 3 generation of rupa kalapa. But samatha and vipassana, chittaja. Chittaja means rupa born by consciousness can produce many generation of rupa kalapa. Okay, and so on. Okay, now we come to one very interesting question that many people would like to know. Okay, how the light appears during meditation. We already, I think many of you are meditator, and many of you have seen the light during meditation. So you may wonder, where is the light comes from? Is it my imagination, or is it real? If it's real, where does the light come from? Okay, so without the knowledge of Abhidhamma, you are unable to explain. Okay, let me explain to you. First, whether you are practicing samatha or vipassana, both samatha mind or vipassana mind, both can produce chittaja rupa kalapa. Here chittaja, ja means produced. So the rupa kalapa produced by chitta, produced by mind. Short form, easy for me to say, otherwise very long. So now let's say I'm practicing samatha, I'm anapanasati. So this mind, samatha mind, can produce rupa kalapa, we call pure otak kalapa, produced by mind. Okay? So inside that pure otak kalapa, we call chittaja rupa kalapa. There is fire and color. You see the fire, white color one here, fire and color. So here color, because this chittaja rupa kalapa is produced by concentrated mind. So the color will become very bright. Will become very bright than the ordinary mind. Okay? So the white, you see the white circle is called color. But the chittaja rupa kalapa only can produce color inwardly, inside the body. So somebody, when they practice 4 elements meditation, they can see color inside the body. And this color come from the chittaja rupa kalapa produced by his 4 elements meditation, or produced by his mind. Okay? And in the samatha, chittaja rupa kalapa also got fire element. As I said many times already, fire element can produce new generation of rupa kalapa inside the body as well as outside the body. Let's say now internal here. So fire produce internal rupa kalapa inside the body. And this the red one is called utuja rupa kalapa. Utu means temperature. Rupa kalapa produced by utu, by temperature. So here red one and white one. White one is called chittaja, the color produced by chitta. Then the red one is rupa kalapa produced by temperature. So inside the utuja rupa kalapa also got fire, also got color, right? Also got color. So when this color, internal color, produced by chitta, and another color produced by temperature, all they arise very close to each other. So, and the color become very bright. Therefore, one can see the light inside the body. Okay? Now, how about the light outside the body? For example, anapanasati, Many people will see light under the nostril, right? Under the nostril, this is already outside the body. Okay. As I say, fire element produced by Uttuja Rupa Kalapa. Or temperature can produce new generation of Rupa Kalapa outside the body. I told this many times already. So outside the body, you see, go to the external. Uttuja Rupa Kalapa, outside the body, external. So this are called Uttuja Rupa Kalapa. Inside Uttuja Rupa Kalapa, they are also color, right? Color is the one of the 8 elements. So the color, and they produce not only one Rupa Kalapa. Rupa Kalapa, they come as a group, not as single. They come as a group. And all this group of Rupa Kalapa, they arise very close to each other. And since they are originated from the samatha, powerful concentration mind, therefore the color become very bright. And this color arise very closely to each other. Therefore, it causes light to come. So one can see under the nostril, there is white light, there's crystal light, or there is red light, and so on. This is how light appears during meditation. Okay? It takes me very, very long to make this PowerPoint. You see, had to make so much circles, and had to make my, what is inside my mind. I got to make it clear to you that, cost a lot of mental effort and also the skill of making all this PowerPoint. I hope you appreciate it. Okay, so, and this light, the light external one can travel very far, as I say. Anuruddha's light can travel 10 world cycle, depend on the power of your concentration. The deeper the concentration, the light can become brighter and can travel very, very far. Therefore, one can see the Deva in the human realm because of the light. Because of his concentrated mind, and produce a lot of Uttuja Rupa Kalapa externally, and the light arise together. So using that light become very bright, so they can see what cannot see through naked eyes, but can see through the concentrated mind. The Deva, the heavenly beings in the heavenly realm. Okay, I'm going to finish quickly already. So last one. So last one is materiality originated from nutriment. We have Rupa originated from Karma, from consciousness, and from temperature. Now the last one. Materiality originated from nutriment. Okay, the internal nutritive essence. Internal nutritive essence. Every Kalapa also got nutritive essence. This is called internal nutritive essence. Supported by digestive fire and external nutrient at the time food is swallowed. Produce materiality originated from nutriment. For example, inside our stomach now, there is undigested food, right? Undigested food is a group of Rupa Kalapa, a group of Rupa Kalapa produced by temperature, because food is temperature born. So when swallowed before digested, it is Uttuja Rupa Kalapa, Rupa Kalapa born by temperature. So after swallow inside the body, it helps digestive fire inside the stomach, and also the new food taken, external food nutrient, With the help of digestive fire, it will produce new generation of materiality we call nutriment born rupa kalapa. Okay, let me give you an example. So here, undigested food in the stomach. Here, all food appear in a group of kalapa. So what you see is only a group of kalapa. So these are called pure otek kalapa born by temperature before digest. After digest, it changed to another kalapa born by nutriment already. So in the pure otek kalapa born by nutriment, there are 8 elements, right? 8 elements: earth element, fire, and until the last one, nutritive essence. And last one is called nutritive essence. So this nutritive essence supported by digestive fire inside the stomach. Inside our stomach now, there is digestive fire. So when this digestive fire support the nutritive essence of pure otek kalapa born by temperature, so it will produce new generation of kalapa called pure otek kalapa born by nutriment. Because the food is digested already, and therefore it becomes the nutriment born kalapa. No more temperature born kalapa. Before digested is temperature born. After digested is called nutriment born rupa kalapa. Okay. So all this new kalapa is called nutriment born rupa kalapa. Now this nutriment born rupa kalapa we call aharaja rupa kalapa. Okay, just now having been digested by digestive fire, then this nutritive essence produce new generation called aharaja rupa kalapa. And this aharaja rupa kalapa will spread all over the body to nurture the body, right? So when you reach the eye decay kalapa, when this nutriment, because it will spread all over the body, when it reach the eye, so it will nurture the eye. It will nurture the eye, so our eye can get nutriment. So when aharaja rupa kalapa reach the eye decay kalapa, support or nurtured the nutritive essence in the eye decay kalapa, and this nutritive essence will produce new generation of rupa kalapa. So first generation. And the first generation we call aharaja rupa kalapa. Also inside that also got nutritive essence. And this nutritive essence also can produce another generation. We call second generation. In the second generation, there's also nutritive essence, being supported by aharaja rupa kalapa and can produce third generation. Same thing can produce fourth generation. So this means that the food taken in the body, when it reach the eye, it will produce new generation, let's say up to 4 generation. So it will nurture the eye. So the food take one day can nurture the body for 7 days. So even 7 days you don't take any food, your eye was still very strong. Why? Because the nutritive essence in the eye decay kalapa will keep on reproducing new generation again and again, and to nurture your eyes. Similarly, the food taken in the body, the aharaja rupa kalapa will support the body decay kalapa, and so the aharaja rupa kalapa will nurture the body for 7 days. The food taken one day will support the body for 7 days. Okay, but after 7 days, you do not take new food. then the aharaja rupa will become weak. Then the eye will become weak, the body will become weak because it does not get the food from the aharaja rupa kalapa. Okay, this I think it's very easy. I don't know whether it's easy for you to understand or not, but I have tried my best to explain to you in detail. Okay. So another few slides. Okay. Okay. Now let's say. In fact, there's some lecture about the matter, but I think we don't have enough time, so I will stop. We suppose we finish the chapter of rupa. Okay. Now I want to make a conclusion. Okay. We have studied the first three ultimate truths already. Consciousness, 89 types of consciousness, or we call 81, exclude the 4 supramundane, 8 supramundane. We have studied different types of consciousness, mental factors, cetasika, and matter, 28 types of matter, and how matters are produced by different causes. So this consciousness, mental factors, and matter form what are merely conventional truths called a human, deva, or animals. So we call she, you, I am Sayalay Susīlā, he is Dr. Bucks, and so on. He is man, he is woman, or he is animal, and he is a deva in a heavenly realm. All these are conventional truth only. Now we have already studied ultimate truth. Whether you are human, deva, or animal, consists of only consciousness. Animal also got consciousness, right? Also got mental factors, also got rupa, also got different type of rupa. So ultimately, what exists is only consciousness, mental factor, and matter. These are the ultimate truth. But if we cannot see clearly this truth, and without this understanding, so we are shackled, bound, trapped, and chained by ignorance. So if you see human being as human being, you do not see human being consists or composed of consciousness, mental factors, and matter. And this consciousness, mental factor, and matter, they are produced by different causes. We have already studied this. And they are impermanent, changing, and they are not a cell, which you all agree already, right? So they are not a cell, they are impermanent, they are suffering, and they are produced by certain different causes. So without this understanding, we are bound, trapped by ignorance, and because of that ignorance, we think consciousness is self, mental factors are self, matter, my body, I, kalapa, body, kalapa, all are self. And because of that, if we identify them as self, then we develop what? We develop clinging to self. But with the understanding consciousness are not self, mental factors are not self, and matter are not self, we develop less clinging. We still cling to them because we still not see things as they really are. We only understand by theory, right? But at least that theory help us to let go certain degree of clinging, right? This is the importance of Abhidhamma. Help you to understand there's no self in what you call I, he, she. So, but without this understanding, we will be bound by ignorance, and ignorance causes clinging to the self, clinging to the permanent I, permanent self. And this is the truth of suffering. And precisely clinging is the origin of suffering. Clinging is the origin of suffering. Then what is the truth of suffering? Since we know the cause of suffering, we also must understand the truth of suffering, right? So the 5 aggregates of clinging are the truth of suffering. Now we already understand what are the 5 aggregates, right? So Buddha say in the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, what is the noble truth of suffering? Birth, aging, sickness, and death. Birth is coming together of 5 aggregates. It's called birth. Aging is the aging of the 5 aggregates. Sickness is the sickness of 5 aggregates. Death is the breaking up of the 5 aggregates. In short, 5 aggregates of clinging are the truth. Is the noble truth of suffering. So what is the 5? What are the 5 aggregates? Number 1, form aggregate. What is form aggregate? 28 kinds of rupa. Especially 18 concrete produced rupa is called form aggregate. Or in short again, 4 elements and the derived materiality are called form aggregates. We already know that. We spent a lot of time studying that, right? And feeling aggregate, which is mental factors. There are 3 types of feeling: unpleasant, pleasant, and neither pleasant nor unpleasant. Okay, then there's a perception aggregate. Perception aggregate means you perceive, make a mark so that you can recognize again. It's called perception. It's also mental factors. Then there are formation aggregate, including all this, faith, whether unwholesome mental factor or wholesome mental factor. Exclude feeling and perception. The rest 50 exclude feeling and perception are called formation aggregate. Therefore, Buddha compare formation aggregate as banana stem. Banana stem, they got many layers, right? The bark got many layers. So you take out layer by layer, and you cannot find any essence, cannot find any self. So formation aggregate including all the wholesome and unwholesome mental factors. Then the consciousness aggregate, all the 81 type of consciousness. So we have studied all this. We study all this is to help us to understand 5 aggregates, which is the noble truth of suffering. Why they are suffering? Because they are subject to clinging. They are subject to clinging. 5 aggregates are subject to clinging. To cling to them as self. Cling to them as permanent, as happiness. And this 5 aggregate, which is the noble truth of suffering, must be fully understood. Without fully understand the noble truth of suffering, you cannot escape from the suffering.